Today I'm going to share a couple of tools and strategies that students can use to access course content in Trello. Hello and welcome to In the Classroom, an educational podcast making teaching and learning more transparent. My name is Benjamin Stewart at benjaminlstewart.org. Today is August 22nd, 2021, and today I'm going to share a few tips and strategies specifically for those students who are taking classes with me this semester, this fall 2021 semester, in fact. If you're listening to this podcast and you have any experiences or insights into how you're sharing course content using Trello and you want to share that, feel free to reach out to me at my Twitter handle at BNLEEZ. Today's podcast is going to be actually a screen share. So if you're interested in seeing the video that I provided my students, showing them Trello, walking them through the steps that they can use to filter different cards, filter different content, different ways of viewing the course content that we're using or that we're including in Trello, take a look at the video, which I have embedded in the show notes of this podcast. So today I want to share with you the audio of the video that I created. And again, this is specifically for 3 courses that I'm currently teaching this fall 2021 semester: Discourse Analysis, a Communicative Abilities in English course, which is a first semester course designed to help students practice the 4 skills, and a listening and speaking course, which is for propedeutic students, those who are just entering into the university. Before they get into the BA program, they can take a 1-year propedeutic, 1-year program that includes propedeutic classes, that includes listening and speaking, which is the course I'm currently teaching, a reading course, a writing course, a grammar course, and a culture course, all designed to provide students a lot of exposure to the English language. And again, the course that I'm teaching, listening and speaking, is specifically focused on those 2 skills, merging those 2. And this semester, with all my students, I'll be using Trello. In this video that I'm about to share, the audio that I'm going to share with you here today is designed to guide students and to give them some strategies in filtering through and accessing different course content that is being included in Trello. So without further ado, let's get into it. For those of you who are taking class with me this fall 2021 semester, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about how you can navigate around Trello. As you know, all of the course content and all of the activities that we're doing will be in Trello. And we've talked a little bit about some tips that you can use to help you navigate around the different content that we have here, but I want to provide a couple of additional tips as we are getting into the class, and I feel you're getting more familiar with Trello. I want to give you some additional tips on how you can find certain pieces of information. Let's say that you want to find an assignment that you want that you need to complete, but maybe you're having questions about where the assignments are and how to locate those. The first thing here I'll show you is that when you go into the Trello board, you do have an option to toggle back and forth between seeing the labels or the names of the labels, or if you want to hide them, you can do that as well. Sometimes it's easier to see at a glance the names of the labels, especially if you're not sure about what the colors represent. I've mentioned this before, though. Make sure that you have the Chrome extension Pro for Trello. This will give you an option to view certain lists. Remember, each list for our purposes will include the work that we're doing per week. So this is week 1, week 2, and so on. And it goes all the way across horizontally, right, until week 16. But let's say that you don't want to show all of the lists at once. You can select the list that you want by just clicking on and off those that you want to have appear on your screen. This is a function of Pro for Trello. So if you don't have this option, again, make sure that you've installed this extension. I think there's an add-on as well for Firefox if you're using that browser, but this should work for any derivative of Chrome if you're using like Opera or Brave or other types of browsers. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you here is that by default, when you open up Trello, as you know, you will see the board view. Okay, so this is the default view. But sometimes, especially as we're getting more and more content here within Trello, sometimes it might be more useful to view the same content in the calendar view. So notice here I clicked the down arrow and selected calendar, and here you can see per day which activities or which content relates to that particular day or that particular week. Right, so here, for example, a podcast that might last 1 week will show as it appears here. Maybe there are some other activities that are very specific to a day. And so this view might be useful. You'll still be able to access this card by clicking and viewing the content in the card as a pop-up. Right, so you can easily go to each one of these. When you're finished with this view, you can either select the X arrow, or you can just go back to the drop-down menu and go back to the board. Now, there are some other options that appear here, but I think for our purposes, either the calendar view or the board view would be the most useful. There might be times where the timeline, which is more like a Gantt chart, might be useful, where you have the days that appear here along the top, and then you have all of the content that appears here. And or I should say the lists appear here along the left-hand side column. All right, so the board view, maybe the timeline, but certainly the calendar view, I think will be useful, and it'll be a different way of accessing the course content within our Trello. Now, the last thing I'd like to show you here, I'll go back to the board view. And let's say that we want to find the graded assignments. We're trying to see or trying to find only those activities where we're going to receive a grade. So if you open up the show menu along the right-hand side, all right, let me go back here. All right, so when you open this up, sometimes the main menu will not appear. It depends on where you left off last time when you were viewing this. Okay, it will maintain the same view that you were in before the last time you opened up this menu. So if you're ever not sure exactly where you are in the menu system, you can always just click the back arrow. This is the main menu. This is where you want to start. And from this main menu, you have an option to search cards. Now from here, you can select graded assignment, and then have only those cards that have the label graded assignment will appear. And you can, of course, combine these searches if you wish, but I think the graded assignment is probably one that you'll find useful if you're just wanting to find the assignments or the cards that include a grade. Now, if you're in the calendar view, you can do the same thing. Notice by default, it maintains the search. It still maintains the search for those cards that have a graded assignment. And this is useful as well because maybe we forget, especially if it's collapsed, we might forget that we're actually in a search, that we have a search result. So you might occasionally glance up here to see if there are any searches being applied at the time that you're viewing this information, because maybe you don't want the search, or maybe you don't want the filter. Maybe you want to see all of the cards. So again, you'll need to go back to your search, in this case, deselect the label, and now all of your cards appear. And notice up here that the search results have disappeared. Now it appears as I go back, and you can always click here as well, and that will remove any filters or any search that you had previously set. Okay, so just a couple of ways of kind of going back and forth between filtering the cards as you need to, or searching specific cards, and then making sure that you're viewing all of the cards when that's desirable and when that's what you want to do. All right, so I think through searching the cards, accessing the different views that we've talked about here today, and also just having an overview of which list you want to appear in your browser, I think will go a long way in helping you find the content in our Trello board. Again, some of this we've talked about already, maybe some other aspects we haven't, but obviously what I'm talking about here today is best applied to a desktop computer. There are some limitations when you're on a mobile device, but hopefully combining these different strategies when you're navigating around Trello will help you find the information. Of course, if you're not sure, not able to find something in Trello, let me know. Remember that I'm using Trello both for our activities that we're doing on a day-to-day basis, but I'm also using it as a planning tool. So just because it appears in Trello doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be doing it at that time. I will always discuss in great detail in class in our online sessions, what it is we're doing. And again, everything will be in Trello that we're talking about, the activities that we're doing, the input sessions, it will all be within Trello. But I will try to make it clear, what we're doing and when we're supposed to be completing it. And then the Trello should hopefully complement that description, that conversation that we're having in live classes. So again, if you see a task in Trello, we haven't talked about it, don't worry about it. We'll get to it. And I will, as a general practice, I do not assign assignments in Trello that I haven't talked about first in our online sessions. All right, guys, I hope this helps. Again, if you have any issues or questions about Trello, feel free to reach out to me using the chat feature in Microsoft Teams. This concludes today's broadcast. If you have any insights and want to share any of your experiences, especially if you're using Trello in your own classes with your own students, feel free to reach out to me at my Twitter handle at BNLEEZ. This has been In the Classroom, an educational podcast, making teaching and learning more transparent. Thanks for listening.